Hi everyone, I want to do a quick reveal of the Urban Tarot that I just received. Well, there's not quite an unboxing. I've unboxed it, I flipped through it up to the sun, and then I thought, you know what, why not videotape this and share the process of discovery with you guys. So, first the box. One of those nice sturdy box. I really love that. It's not as, you can see that it's sort of, it's not as sturdy or as thick as some others, but it's thick enough. It'll be really good for storage. There's a few words there which I'll just leave you to pause and read at your own leisure, just to save some time. Similarly, I'll do so with this introduction card by him. I think his name is Robert Scott, so shortened to Robin. Initially I thought it was a she, but I think it's a he. There's a few words there, so you could read that at your own leisure, and thanking people for their patience, because we waited a while for this, even though I actually didn't feel the waiting time. I've ordered it thinking I was ordering the deck, not realizing it was still in production, so I have effectively pre-ordered the deck, which is fine. The lamination is really good. It's high sheen. It's the kind of sheen that you have from polishing your nail, very, very well, and not the kind of glossy stickiness that you have when you say paint your nail with, the clear, what do you call that? Varnishing. That's glossy. This is high sheen. So it's matte, but it's really high sheen, which is great. Sort of waxy sort of feel, but not too waxy. So that predictably created a very, very great liquid deck. Whoops. Okay, it's way too liquid there. Okay, now that's cool. Let's quickly go through the cards. It's quite small. It's my hand's not very big. Okay, so that's like that. So it's a sort of on the small side. Oh, it comes with a book, which I'll go through. Okay, so full. I think this is modeled after the artist himself. And each of these people are modeled after real people, and the name of the models are stated in the handbook. I'm not sure if these are the faces of his Kickstarter backers. By the time I found out about this deck, I think the campaign had been over, which is why I thought I was buying a deck, not realizing it was still in as a homeless person, as a hermit in New York. How appropriate is that? Yes, so I think the faces of everyone here might be his the faces of his backers, actually. How cool is that, to have your face in a tarot card? Oh my goodness. That reminds me of Russell Brand. That's a, gosh, it's a very difficult card to look at. Yeah, I mean, being a Manhattan themed deck, the tower can't be anything but, can it? But I had to travel extensively between New York, Europe, New Zealand, and Asia in the 3 or 4 years or so following this incident, and I can tell you, traveling's changed forever after this incident. The whole world's changed forever after this. And so, if my interpretation of the tower being that your whole world's turned upside down, but the rest of the macrocosm within which you exist still remains pretty much the same, I'm not sure if that's the correct interpretation of tower, but if it is, then this is beyond that. This is beyond this changing the US. This changed the world. I'm not quite sure if people in New York or in the US fully appreciate how events in America can affect the rest of the world, but I can tell you, having to travel between 4 countries in the 4 years following this, that this event changed the world as we knew it. That's a very heavy card to look at, that one. Sorry, I don't mean to dwell, but that's just... I initially thought it was the Vietnam War Memorial, and then I saw that reflection. That's, you know, that's her reflection in turn of the century, sort of 1910s, and where a lot of immigrants go through Ellis Island to be Americans. So the Aeon, I think it's Judgment. This reminds me of that card, Tarot Everywhere, the Strength card in the form of Statue of Liberty. You know, that sort of all these people from distant shores all arriving in America and give birth to America and Americans. That is such a wonderful universe card. That is the most wonderful universe card I've ever seen in this kind of, you know, realistic type of artwork, semi-realistic, realism-based art. Fire Department of New York. Hey, it's my university. That's where I graduated from. Oh, for my graduate, you know, that's where I went to New York for, Columbia University, and that's light blue is the university's color. Yankees and Red Sox. This reminds me of those chants that I think the Yankee supporters always chanted whenever these two meet. I think 1918, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the year, the last time the Red Sox have ever beaten the Yankees was 1918. I think it's 1918. I have friends who supported both sides, so it's always fun. So that reminds me of the Thoth, you know, that sort of composition there, that sort of semi-scenic. That reminds me of a protest march I participated soon after I arrived in New York. Student food, pizza. What student's not familiar with that scene? Fortitude, having to walk in the snow, in the cold. Oh yes, I know all about that. But I have to say that New Zealand merino wool is a lifesaver. I have to work with people from Rikers Island who are not well, and that's another heavy card for me. All sorts of memories are coming back to me. Public defender, you have to be passionate to be public defender. You cannot function in this role without passion, especially from what I can see in my experience in New York, dealing with them not face to face but over the phone, and it's just, and from what I heard, you have to really, you know, Queen of Wands. I can almost say that Fortitude, maybe. Well, I don't know, but yeah, without that fire in your belly, you can't stay public defender, I don't think. Oh, I like this, you know, the title like that. The title of the traditional, I like that. That's cool. I really wish this card is bigger though, in that the border's less frivolous. Angel of Bethesda in Central Park, I think. That reminds me of Angels in America, the HBO series from the 2000-ish, I think, based on a play from the 1980s, at the beginning of the HIV epidemic. It's a really good series, that Angels in America. Amazing, amazing series. I really like this deck. Really like this deck. It's really cool. I think it's very workable. I think the artwork is great. Where would we be in Manhattan without a therapist, eh? Where would we be without the therapist? Queen of Cups. It's that kind of, and a filmmaker, of course, and a costume designer, of course. That, you know, mixture between realism, semi-realism, or real, I don't know whether you want to call this, I suppose it's realism? I don't know, but, you know, that kind of realistic, but not so much at the same time. So that reminds me very much of Freya Harris's Crowley's deck. Crowley's in the traditional Thoth. That as well. That's the second deck associating the Prince of Sword. In that deck was the Knight of Sword with IT related things. And that's Rockefeller Center, I think. Is that Madison Square Garden? I'm not sure. Times Square? No idea. I have to check the guidebook later on. I have ordered 2 decks, but I've received 1 deck, and I can't recall ordering a handbook. So, oh, look at that. Queen of Discs, Matrias. Isn't that a perfect Queen of Discs? Just perfect. So I'm not quite sure if, oh, look at that. The Kindergarten Teacher for Princess of Discs. That's just so apt. Yeah, so I'm not sure if the book is sold separately or whether I've been sent the book by mistake because I've ordered 2 decks and I've received 1 deck and 1 book instead. But there's $20 there. But if this is $20, you know, the Wild Unknown handbook, there's not a lot of information in it. It's small and it's black and white, and that's like $25. If this is $20, it's worth the money, I think. Look, it's that. And it's in color and it's full page. And you see the model there for each card. I'm going to have to... Hold on a second, sorry, excuse me. Right, so it's pretty big, yeah, it's that big. And it's full, look at that. Oh, I like this handbook. I really like this handbook. $20 it's worth it. If you have to pay extra, I would have bought it. I just don't remember ordering this, so I don't know whether this is a special deal for those early pre-orders or whether they've mistaken my order for 2 decks with 1 deck and 1 book. I will have to clarify that. But for now, I leave you to, yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.